Hi, I'm Rachel and this is Rachel's Rustics. Welcome or welcome back. Today I have a few fall themed DIYs for you. They are rustic and farmhouse style. If that's something you'd like to see, please stick around. Please like and subscribe. Let's get into the video. Okay, so here we have a pumpkin that I got from the Dollar Tree, I think last year. I may have picked it up this year. And I'm just using a heat tool and a razor knife to just kind of try and pry the slats off of those two back slats so that I can try and paint them separately without getting paint on the other ones. I just thought it would be a little bit easier. In the end, I ended up not even using those back slats anyway. So I just took my time doing that. This is sped up, but it did take a little while. So here I have all the 5 pieces, and then I end up trying to figure out which direction I'm going to go. I use this pumpkin Waverly chalk paint. Pumpkin is the color. I use that on 2 of the slats. And then I end up actually using like an antique wax to go over them because it was a little too bright for my taste. So this one, agave, no, peacock. So peacock I did for the middle piece there. And then there's an antiquing wax that I'm about to pull out. I've got like 3 or 4 different types of antiquing wax. I've had this for a really long time and I use it constantly. So it lasts a really long time. And while the paint is still wet, that's when I go in and I use that antique like wax. Try to blend it in as much as possible anyway. And I use a little bit more on the stem so it's a little darker. Yep, and then I do it for that piece too. And then the other 2 pieces I use the Waverly's Ivory chalk paint. And then I end up doing the same thing with the antiquing wax going over top of that as well. And usually I would cover up those holes, but I had intentions of covering them up in some type of way. So I did leave those holes there that you can see at the top of the 2nd and 4th piece of wood. Okay, so then I have this wood round that I got both of these from the Dollar Tree, I forgot to mention that. And I just use that same antiquing wax to go over the entire thing. So at first I start to use a paintbrush and then I grab a baby wipe, and it goes on so much smoother when you use a baby wipe. I guess there's some type of like a gliding factor. I heard Holly from Holly's Hot Humble Pie, she says that a lot, that there's like a conditioner type of thing in there, and it works really well. So I just did the whole thing and then I make sure to do the outside, and I use my heat tool to just try to speed up the drying process there. So then I lay this out on the pumpkin on the wood round, and I start gluing them down, but I leave a little space in between each one because I still wanted to have that like slatted look. And I took some like Scrabble tiles, and I spelled out "Be Thankful," and then I just kind of spaced them as evenly as I could on the pumpkin. So I just take my heat gun and I take just a tiny little bit of hot glue and I glue those down there, trying to put 2 on each one except for on the very ends. There's 1 letter on each wooden slat. And I use a ruler to make sure that everything is straight. Then I just grab a whole bunch of florals that I had in my stash, trying to figure out what would look good. I went through for like 20 minutes trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I actually almost didn't put this in because I had to walk away from it because I just wasn't satisfied. And I'm sure a lot of people are, crafters are familiar with that too. And you'll notice my nails are red here, and then when I come back, I think they're white. So that's how long I walked away. For like 2 weeks, I let this sit without putting a video together because I just couldn't figure out how I wanted to end it. So I just took a couple leaves and then a little flower off one of the stems, and I also got all of these at the Dollar Tree, all the florals from the Dollar Tree. And I'm taking like acorns and pumpkins and all kinds of stuff. So I walked away. Here I came back and I just took some of this. It's like just a white cotton rope. I don't even remember where I got this from. I've had it for a while. And then I got out some other ones because I was trying to decide which one I wanted to use, and just went with this just to, I guess, lighten it up a little bit. So I just took the hot glue and glued it real slowly around the edge, and then I ended up doing a hanger, using a hanger for that, for the top, so you could hang it up. So I'm just taking my time and wrapping the rope around it, and I cut it off, and then I use a little bit of, after I cut off like the excess, I use a little bit of hot glue just to try and like pinch the seam together so it's not as noticeable where it starts and stops. So here's where I grab some twine, and then I put a piece of tape on the end of it, put it through that hole, and then just create a knot on the front side. And I think I had to do like 2 or 3 knots on each side so that it wouldn't go through, because it's a thinner twine. There is the final result. Okay, here's where I use the agave. So this is just a sign that I got from the Dollar Tree. I had planned on using it before, so this is the back side actually. And the other side I had peeled whatever was there, I peeled that off. But I use the agave over the entire sign, and I end up giving this 2 coats actually. Just use my heat tool to speed up that process. So here's the second coat, and then while this second coat is wet, I grabbed, I think it was Mineral, the color Mineral Waverly chalk paint, and I did some strokes over top of that just to lighten it up, because my house is decorated in almost like all gray and white, so when I do throw some color in there like this, it's really drastic and very like stark to me, so I make sure to try and lighten it up. Yeah, Mineral chalk paint. So I try to lighten it up in some type of way. So I just took like a little chip brush and I put some streaks in there and then blend it together, blend the 2 paints together while it's wet so that there's no harsh lines or anything. I think it turned out really well. So while I have a second, I just wanted to say that I apologize for not having as many videos out as once a week. There's so much work that goes into creating these videos and then doing the editing and then the voiceovers, and I mean all of that. And then my computer was acting insane, so I am trying though. So here I have some window clings that I got from Dollar General, I believe, last year, and some matte Mod Podge. So I put the matte Mod Podge down on top of almost the whole board, because I'm going to use the bigger window cling from that set there sitting to the right. And I got some paint or something on there, so I'm just trying to get that off. So we just take that and I set it down, try to center it as best as I can, but down towards the bottom. And I don't use Mod Podge a whole lot, so I'm kind of like learning as I go. I'm trying to do things that are not all Cricut related, because I know not everyone has a Cricut. But I'm learning that with Mod Podge, you gotta use just either real thick, a thick consistency, or go like inch by inch with that kind of stuff, because it tends to like dry before you get, your like decal or whatever on top of your project. So then I have these rub-on transfers that I got from the Dollar Tree this year, and I really like them. I've been wanting to use them for a while, and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with them. So I grabbed a couple of those, and I ended up putting, I don't know, like 3 or 4 of those fall leaves on this sign. I was going to use like the squirrel and the leaf and all the, those things that are on the window cling, but it was just, I don't know, it was too much for me, I think. I just needed a couple small things. So when they're real easy to use, like you literally just put them down, you scrape, you could use this, I don't even know what it's called, just some type of scraper or a popsicle stick, whatever, some type of hard surface. You can even use your fingernail probably, and just kind of like scratch it and it'll come right off. But you do have to work slowly when you're peeling up. There's like a little layer that you need to peel up, but if you don't get it all, then you just set it right back down and scrape it again, and it'll come up real nicely. So then, because you could see the Mod Podge, I wanted to go over the entire thing so that if you look at it, from a different angle, it doesn't have, spots where you can see the Mod Podge and then spots where you can't. So I just went over the entire thing. And this is matte, so there's a little bit of shine to it, but it's pretty dull, I think, compared to the others. And it's also like a protective type of layer that's on top of your project. It's going to hold all that stuff down. Okay, so then I think I use my heat tool at the end just to speed up the drying process, because I'm super impatient. Yep. And then I take some pip. Okay. Please tell me what these are. They are pit, P-I-T berries, or pip, P-I-P berries. But I love them. Every time I see them, I grab 4 or 5 of these from the Dollar Tree. So I just take that, the end of one, I pull off some of the berries because I didn't want them on the back, and then I wrap that around a couple times. Usually on projects like this, I'll use twine, and I'll kind of wrap it around a couple times, but this one I had these pit berries and I thought it would look really well. So I did that to the top and the bottom, and it's a real thin wire. You can cut it just how you saw with scissors. And in the video, there's those 2 holes up top. I did not put the twine in there in the video, but I did afterwards, so that this could be hung up. So again, just wrapping the bottom with these berries. Pit or pip? You tell me. I'm sorry. I think I'm getting a cold. So there it is, all nice and finished. Beautiful. I like it. It adds a lot of color, which I'm not used to, but I think it's a good type of color. All right, here I have a some type of board that I had. My husband actually used it. He does like this paint pouring technique, and he wasn't happy with it, so he scraped all the paints off, and I didn't want it to go to waste, so I saved it. At first, I used a chalk paint. I forget what the color is, but it's real light gray, and it just was not giving the coverage. I feel like I would have had to do like 5 or 6 layers of paint to cover. It's going to get covered anyway, but I didn't want anything to kind of pop through, so I wanted it to be a solid color. So this is Elephant chalk paint by Waverly, which is the dark gray. And then again, here I go trying to use Mod Podge. I have a piece of scrapbook paper that looks like birch wood. I think it's called birch. Yeah, birch. I don't know. But anyway, so here I am covering the entire thing like I didn't learn before. And I'm not pleased with the placement. It's not completely on the edge, so I lifted it up, and it's like it wasn't even sticking, and I had just put it down. There's no fan on or anything, so if you do things like this, make sure you go little by little. Learn from my mistakes. Birchwood. It's called birchwood, right? Oh, God. So then I use this little... I can't find my words today. I don't know what the hell this is. It's a little like rolling tool, and it gets make sure everything is real flat and there's no air bubbles or anything like that. You guys are gonna have to tell me what that's called. I'll think of it when I'm going to bed tonight. So then I just take a razor knife and I trim off the excess on the sides. And I did use my heat tool just to try and like dry up some of the Mod Podge. And a sanding block to try and kind of blend in the edges there a bit. It just makes for like softer lines. They're not so harsh. So here I have some other window clings that I got from Dollar General as well last year. $1. They're really nice for only $1. So I'm just kind of playing around with it, figuring out what the best placement is. So I'm turning it back and forth. It's like really driving me crazy on what that thing is called. I know it. I hear people say it all the time, but I can't think of it. But anyway, so I use some Mod Podge and I put it on the back of the window cling. And I try to get it straight. And then I do the same for the truck. If there's some Mod Podge tips, I would appreciate you guys letting me know them. I don't use it a whole lot, so I'm learning. I know there's a technique where you put it down and then you use like an iron over top of it, or like a Cricut heat press, like things like that. You can, it's really neat the way that it's done, but I haven't tried it yet. So I was almost done with this, but then I changed my mind. It wasn't how I wanted it to be. So I take these little wooden dowels, they're square dowels, and then I take that same elephant colored Waverly chalk paint and I paint all 4 of them on 3 of the sides and the ends. So I did not paint the side that I'll be making like a border with these dowel rods, so I didn't paint the one side because I'll be gluing it. So I paint all 4 of those, and then to lighten it up a little bit, I took the ivory Waverly chalk paint and just dry brushed over top of those, and I did that on, the 3 sides. I was quite brave doing it right on top of my project, huh? Probably wasn't the smartest. Yeah, so I just dry brush on top of them, and then I lay it on top of the, line the edge of the wooden piece. And I did paint the edges of this. This is like an inch tall or something, so I did paint the edges with the elephant trunk paint as well. So I just line up the wooden dowels. I do the sides first, and then I know that I'm going to need to cut the dowels down. So then I just lay that one there, and I measure to where it needs to be. I cut it with my little miter shears there and sand down the edge. I really like these things. They're very handy. They work really well most of the time. And normally I would take that piece and lay it up against the remaining piece to measure it, but I've learned that that's not smart because the top and the bottom of a lot of projects are not the same size, even though they're square. So here I am just measuring again, cutting off what I don't need, sanding it down. I had to keep cutting this one. I kept cutting too short. I was so scared I was going to cut too far. So then I just glue it down. And then I did dry brush the sides as well, since I dry brushed those wooden dowels. I'm not sure if I showed it there, but I try to show it in the end result, which is coming right up. So here's the end result. I love it. I think it's nice and simple, very fall. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Please stick around. Please like and subscribe this video. Oh my God. Guys, if that's something you like to see, please stick around. Please like this video if you do. Good. Just make a trailer. Make a trailer. They don't have to do this crap every time. Any grays sticking out there? Husband found a gray one today. Second one. Let's hear the dog snore. Okay. Hi. Nope. Howdy, folks. Hey, friends. Hi, friends. Hey, friends. Would you like to say hello, little one? How do I turn this around? Alright, let's turn this around. Ahoy! Did I wake you up? Say hi to my friends. Say, watch Rachel's Rustics. Like her videos. Tell them. Yeah, look at this face, this sweet baby face. Yeah, watch Rachel's Rustics.
Like and subscribe.